Hey, everybody, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because Liam Gallagher is going to take our hand gently and walk us through a kindly asked fan question and then rip him a new one.
That's exactly what's happening. You're also going to find out why Madonna's 1994 album Bedtime Stories is still epic 30 years later.
Truth.
Enjoy the show, everyone.
Well, hello, Kello.
That's a new one. You've never come up with that one.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used to call my nephews Smello.
Oh, I like that.
Well, yeah, because they're boys.
Yeah,
Kello sounds cuter, though, doesn't it? And less smelly. So that's good
yeah,
for
yeah,
this.
yeah. You know what's funny is I forgot to, and it's actually great. I forgot to tell you in advance of our recording because this is going to be very organic for you.
Yeah.
Um, as of this recording, tomorrow is actually our anniversary of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're already in season 13, but technically if you go by years, it's 12 years.
That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
12 years of 90s now.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody about it today and they're like, how come I don't know about this? I'm like, or no, she said, how come I don't listen? I'm like, that's a you question that you are the person who would answer that the best, I think. But we are everywhere you need to find us, and our loyal listeners know how to find us, and they also do us the solid of passing it on to their friends. So
Yeah.
I have to do the same with my friends, evidently.
Yeah.
So thank you, Carolyn and Paul, in advance for listening to 90s Now, still happening. Hey, for today, we have got some questionable on-screen chemistry.
Yep.
Winka winka. We've also got oh yeah, I think it answers the question of should I deal with fans on Twitter? And the answer is no, by the way.
No.
Heads up, the answer is no.
Yep.
Also get into some trivia that might blow your mind, and then you'll have to deal with the after effects of that. But you know what? If you didn't come prepared, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Also, your 90s rewind will take us back to a sweet spot in one of the even years of our favorite decade in 1994. Even years for sure, but we're talking 30 years later. Isn't that nuts?
Like, yeah, because, yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah, because it's nuts. That's why.
yeah, it's 30 years since I graduated high school.
Oh my God.
We had that
I was,
discussion.
we've had this discussion every time we hit a big number.
Yeah.
You were in high school, I was in the clubs.
Yeah. With your hammer pants.
The
Yeah.
one artifact I wish I'd kept.
I wish you had two.
It
That would have been quite the sight.
was just so much material. I think I had to make a call. Are you ever going to use these pants again? Not for pants, maybe for a picnic table, tablecloth or like a tent for puppies at the park. I don't know.
Maybe you could have jumped out of a plane and that could have been your part of your
Oh,
parachute.
it could have been. I would have looked like a flying squirrel. Totally that. I can think of an outfit that I had. I had this like faux turtleneck, but it was like a sweater more than a turtleneck. And it was blue and black and had silver in it. And I wore it with those pants and like cool shoes with a super fine point on them. I looked good. Okay. So
I
don't even
don't doubt it.
question it. Don't doubt it.
Yeah, my sister had these, I think you and I talked about this. My sister had these really big blue jean pants that were like hammer-esque.
Yes.
And but it was very important, I remember, for her to there was like a fold, like a way to fold the bottom of the sh like because it wasn't just you had to fold the bottom, like
Right.
they were
Yes.
folded up. And that I want to say that was 1990-ish, I feel. Yeah.
Well, things either last or they don't.
Yeah.
And thanks, 90s. A lot of you didn't last.
Yeah. Although like I'm starting to see kids now in lots of baggy stuff again.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that because I do love a good baggy jean, especially if it falls proper. Like you know who always looked amazing was the ladies of TLC. Like
Yes.
they looked so cool always in their baggy
Anything they wore, anything they did. And it's like going to, they were like pop music example or R&B example of hip hop example. They were just musical examples
Yep.
of going to a fashion show. You know, when you go to you watch a fashion show, like, oh, whatever line is coming out, it's never a line of clothing that you could see in your everyday life.
Yep.
You're never going to see it off the runway.
Yep.
You know, it's super specific. But with TLC, they managed to work it into everyday life.
Yep.
They made it, they normalized it in the best possible way.
Yeah. And they were like, because that was also, remember, like some flannel was going on around that time.
Yeah. I I was
And
wearing the flannel too. I finally got to put my bangs down in the late 80s and just relax. Okay. That's what I did. I just
yeah.
relaxed.
Did you have spray net in the 80s? Was it spray net?
Oh, yeah. Lots of it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. 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 Of
Yeah.
course. Like it was a little hair helmet. Ka-tunk, ka-tunk. We're good. Let's go. One more.
Yeah. Then my sister had, I know the audience right now can't see this, but if you do go look at this on YouTube on the channel, she had like the Dep gel that was this color.
Oh, yes.
Pink, bright
And
bubblegum
it
pink.
smelled good enough to eat, but you didn't eat it,
No, you
obviously.
shouldn't do that.
But it also, if you put enough in, it hardened
Yes.
and you'd have like a
Yep.
crunchy
Yep.
bit of stuff. But then when you washed it out,
Yeah.
your hair was super soft.
Yep. Yep.
Ah, those were the days.
Yep. She had a vat of that Dep stuff. It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you went into it with like 3 or 4 fingers,
Yeah.
took some stuff out and went bonkers in your hair. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And then I got
Yeah.
into it, which probably was not the best. I still remember I had like a comb thing, so I would like put it in, and then I had this like comb that because I would do this flip thing,
Yes.
and then it would harden like you said, and like you could have, I don't know, like it almost looked like some sort of labyrinth. Like you know what I mean?
Like
Like
there's something about Mary almost,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
and
Yeah,
Cal, didn't you also have a little mushroom cut?
I did. Yep.
That's cute.
How did we not know Kelly was gay at that juncture? I'm not sure. Yeah, apparently my karate teacher knew because that's right around the time I think he told my mother that he thought I was gay. And
Wow.
she was not having it. And she only told me this like I think maybe the year after I came out to her, which was like 11 years later. So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's funny when you look back at the pictures like when you're young and I was like, how did I not know? Anyways.
Pictures tell all, eh?
Yep, yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yep. Yeah.
It's the same people who love Joe from Facts of Life. It's all of us.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. But Joe's not gay.
I know, but like she could have been our leader.
She could have been.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
No.
She dated Michael J. Fox. I remember seeing them in
Well,
Teen Beat
that's
magazine.
true. I forgot about that.
Tiger Beat, Teen Beat, or 16. One of the
Sweet 16 or whatever. Yeah. There was
yeah.
17 magazine also.
That's, for when you were 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, so on we go. How about we brighten things up with a bit of trivia, Cal?
That's why I laugh because I'm like, here comes trivia. Sharon's gonna love it. You
Yay!
love it? I don't know if you love it that much.
We'll
Uh,
see.
but you've been embracing it more recently, so I appreciate that. Art and literature or sport, Sharon? Which one are we starting with?
We're gonna start with sport.
Okie doke. Um, which country hosted the 1990 Soccer World Cup?
Um, England.
Oh, that's a solid guess. No. Do you want one more?
Um, Spain.
One more?
Um, uh,
Think about where we live in Montreal and who loves football/soccer so much. Which community?
I thought I just nailed it. France?
Italy.
Oh, excuse me.
We have a strong contingent of
That's
Italians
true.
in our city who love soccer.
That's true.
It's very when it is like World Cup or whatever, like it's very noisy if you go to Little Italy, which is and I'm certain that's in Toronto
Oh yeah,
or wherever. It's amazing to see how much they love their team. So
truth.
yeah, it's good. So now we'll move over to art and literature.
Please.
Oh, by the way, just before we move away from soccer, I would like to give a shout out to Christine Sinclair, who is a very well-known Canadian soccer player and also plays for Portland. And she has played her last game and she's retiring. So
Woo!
after a very illustrious career, I can't remember how many caps she has for Canada, but many. And just such a she's such a great ambassador of the game and such a great role model for up and coming young women. So, Christine Sinclair, congratulations. You've earned.
Congratulations. Well earned indeed.
Yep, yep. All right, so here we go. Art and literature. Who wrote Notes on a Small Island, a humorous travel book about Britain?
Is
Imagine
this
you actually get. I need.
what?
I said, imagine you actually get this. I need the author.
That's troubling when that's your follow-up statement to your trivia question. Imagine you actually get this.
Yeah, so the book is called so he they we I need an author because the question is who wrote Notes on a Small Island, which is a humorous travel book about Britain.
Nick Hornby.
That's you know what's hilarious is so it's not that, but it's like the equivalent of the answer. Bill Bryson.
Ah, how is that equivalent to my answer?
Because it was like it's like it was just like
Blah blah.
yeah, like dude's name. And now
Right.
it's another name. Yeah.
Well, I had hope for a moment there, but then it got dashed.
Yeah. So
Wah, wah.
0 for 2 this week, Sharon.
Ah, it's a familiar situation. And again, let's circle back
Yeah.
to the question asker
Yeah.
saying, imagine you actually get this. No hope.
I'm nothing if not positive for you, Sharon. Well, there's times where I know I'm like, oh, she'll get this. And
Mm.
but not I didn't feel this one that you would.
Well, living and learning.
Yeah. Have you heard of Notes on a Small Island?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay.
But Bill Bryson, is that what you said?
Bill Bryson. Yeah.
Never heard of him either.
Yeah, me neither. No.
May he write more notes from
Yeah.
bigger places.
And hopefully it's still humorous.
Here's hoping. Hey, did you watch the X-Files?
So no, but my better half, so I obviously knew of it and all that,
Yeah.
but it falls into that category of like Kelly doesn't like things that aren't real. So
What do you mean by things that aren't real? I think
like
that there's a great contingency of the population of the world that thinks that what they dealt with on the X-Files was real.
possibly, but Kelly can't go through life thinking that. So
So no aliens for you.
no aliens for me. No, no.
Really? So like life on other planets, no
Oh,
go?
well, like maybe, but I don't want to know about them.
Oh,
You
okay.
know what I mean?
Got it.
Like for sure, I'm sure there are, but I don't need to see them. That's fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like I'd
Uh,
rather watch about serial killers. Thanks.
no, I didn't watch X-Files either.
Yeah.
Um, my mom loved it.
Really?
Yeah,
That's great.
she was into it. And what I find interesting is that this information that we've been looking at about um, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, that they have great chemistry on screen, but in between their scenes together, they could go good long stretches without communicating,
Yeah.
which at least from her perspective, she says, maybe we were crazy,
Yeah.
but maybe they were just crazy good at what they did.
Yeah.
Because she says, it's crazy that we were able to present on camera, the various feelings and emotions and attraction and all that kind of stuff, but then not speak to each other for weeks at a time.
That's a lot.
That's saying something. And it
Yeah.
does, I think, speak to the fact that they were good actors because you're not necessarily needing to be with or work anything through with their, their counterpart. I think that it's great when you can have that chemistry where you do, you can figure out a groove, but clearly they didn't need it and were able to, at least for those characters, from what I remember, again, I didn't watch it, but they were decidedly specific characters that worked off each other. I mean, it's a show with two people mainly, right?
Yeah.
But I think it speaks to their ability, and
And
it's neat.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it's neat that this many years later, it seems pretty fresh for her.
Yeah, and it's what's funny for me is like because we're in radio, because obviously they are actors, they are supposed to take on a role and like whatever.
Yeah,
But for us, like, and especially you're on a morning show right now. I've done morning shows before. And like, if you don't like your person, that's going to be real hard.
I imagine that. Thankfully, I don't have that problem at all,
Yep.
like at all, which is, I think, the other side of this of the coin too, because for us on our show 3 years ago, we didn't know each other
Hmm.
like at all,
Yep.
and wouldn't have had reason to know each other, you know?
Yep.
And then we met, and then we, did our own little search and discovery mission on each other on our own time.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, we're very good friends on the air. We don't see each other much off the air, but when we're on, we're on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Which is amazing. Because again, like, if I don't know. Like, it'd be interesting to actually find out if there is radio. There must be radio shows where they don't get along.
Yeah.
But, sometimes that's the shtick, and they actually do get along. But there must be, I don't know, but I can't imagine it. Because, like, especially when you're doing mornings, like, you're up at X amount of time in the morning.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to have and I'm not sure like how you guys roll, but I know like I've heard it like I'm pretty high energy in the morning, but I always try to like see what the other person's doing because I don't want to be too high energy if like they need a minute or half an hour to kind of
Yep.
to the show. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We both have different, somewhat different styles, but not really.
Mm.
He gets there before me because he has a specific time that he gets up. I get there about 10 minutes before we're going on.
Yeah.
We both arrive ready,
Yeah.
so the first thing I say after, hi, how are you? Good weekend, good at night, whatever, is, I'm hungry. And I am,
Yeah.
usually all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. I think it's good on them. That's one of those lasting shows that didn't need to be from, what I've read. It's like an evergreen show.
Yeah.
It happened in the 90's. That's when it was available, but it's the kind of thing that for topic wise it works still today.
Yeah. And it's crazy too how it like in its own ways, obviously it was very different from Friends, but it was a phenomenon before the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Totally. Now, we talked about it at the start of the show about an example of not dealing with your fans on Twitter. For me, not a fan of Twitter.
mm,
I find it to be the most negative of all the social media platforms. It's so faceless, and so people have this bravado about them that they feel they can say whatever they want, and because it's faceless, they get away with it. And the attitude is, I find, very negative and short-sighted, and a lot.
yep.
A lot and not enough. So, but it's one of those things too where I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm never on it. But it's one I sort of view it as like important to know what your enemies are doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So if that's where the crazies are
Every
converging,
and
then we
everybody
should got to be careful.
and everybody too is like whatever kind of quarterback when it's like an event, like let's say you are watching the Grammys or you're watching the Oscars or your election stuff,
Yeah.
everybody's spewing all kinds of stuff when that like, event of note is on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Well, for Liam Gallagher, he chirped back at a fan question that he called ridiculous, which, I mean,
Yeah.
he goes on to say more things, but he said, got asked a ridiculous question yesterday. So are Oasis going to be as good as you once were? Because when some bands get back together, they're not as good, which is a legit question. And who knows what fan he was dealing with, what level of um, intellect, maturity, age, anything. It might have just been, who knows. But he writes, I said, listen here, you blank. And I'm sure I know what it is.
Yep.
I'm sure it's the word that starts with C. He says, even on our bad day, we'll still wipe the floor with the majority of bands out there.
Yep.
That is the Oasis we know and love. That's Liam Gallagher. And Noel would have said the same thing, but I'm sure. But that what they're complaining about is a lack of newer artists opening up for them.
Yep, yep, yep.
So Richard Ashcroft is one name that they were throwing around, kind of like, what gives, like I think from our side of things, and I could be wrong, but I don't remember the last thing Richard Ashcroft released. And as the frontman of the Verve, obviously very good. His first solo album was excellent,
Mhm.
but it is sort of, maybe they're just sort of aligning of like, it's our friend, and he was, doing it at the same time as we were doing it. I mean, all kinds of maybes, but Liam pushing further that the ability of Richard Ashcroft is that he's got more talent in his left nostril than your so-called new bands put together.
Yep.
So I find that funny because he actually prefaced it by saying, to all the folk who are crying about us not showing love to the young bands and not letting them support, there's levels to this game, and I'm afraid 99% of you are way off.
He's very opinionated. He is.
He's got an opinion. He's right, and he'll tell you. But he also went on to say, um, show some flippin' respect.
Also that.
Also, he didn't say flippin', but
Yeah.
we know that. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think you know, just to see if it stays on the rails, and
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
be good. I'm just like, for everything, I'm hoping that they create some sort of live experience at a theater
Yeah.
so I can go to that.
Good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like if they can keep it on the rails like Guns N' Roses have kept it on the rails, then this a lot of people will be happy.
Yeah. Yep. I love though that, they're still on edge. They're
Yep.
ready to take on a relatively harmless question with vigor.
That's how Liam rolls.
Oh yeah. So you ready to go back 30 years, Kel?
Let's do it to 1994.
Let's go, let's go. Number one song on the charts that I think would be for like 3 months and plus was Boys to Men, I'll Make Love to You.
Quite the tune.
Oh yeah.
Played that at my college radio show.
That was four-part harmony with a bit of aggression.
Yeah.
I'll make love to you. They were good, man. All I Want to Do, Sheryl Crow, welcome to the game. She did great with that song.
Great song.
And Real McCoy, Kel, I'm giving you the one, two, three right off the top of the charts at this time in 1994. Real McCoy and Another Night. Is it me, or did that song get new life within the past few years?
I feel like you're right. We'd have to check that out, but
And it's incredible because it's so succinctly 1994
yep.
that it works, man. It still works 30 years later.
Mhm.
Similarly, I think that Eni Kamo's
Yep.
Here Comes a Hot Stepper, Murder Rock. Love it. And then if we could tap off a handful of tunes with A Secret from Madonna,
Oh,
we all win.
that was such a great album, Bedtime Stories. Oh,
Totally that.
yeah. I
She
recently listened to it and it was such a like, oh my God, 1994.
and she worked with Babyface on that, right?
Space, yeah,
Yeah.
because Take a Bow,
Yes, great. Oh, love that song.
so good. And that video for that song was, remember, it was like the bullfighting video.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. And then like Bedtime Stories, the song, like
Yeah.
remember when she did it at the tour, like on the tour, like when that like because
Yeah.
it's such a great like EDM tune. Like it's just and it's funny because like that one is one of the songs I would say is completely timeless. Like you hear it in 1994 and you can hear it now and it's still sick. Like it's not dated. It's just it's awesome.
I just saw something online for one of our colleagues who said that he had seen Madonna.
Oh,
So he would have seen the same show that we saw. He
yeah.
said he didn't think it was that good.
Oh my God. After we stop recording, you'll tell me which color.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Maybe you won't. Yeah. Yeah. That
I'll
was
throw
epic.
one. Yeah,
Such
I thought it was incredible. Like, and I've seen her a couple of times before that, so I had something to at least compare it to experience wise. But Madonna puts on a show that, in and of itself, is an experience.
yeah.
Period. So you have to rate the experience, and there was nothing but amazement for me on that one.
So good. And like her sets and like the lighting and like remember she had the four quadrants so everybody could get a look at her. Like
Yep.
her and her team nailed it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there. I was going to throw one more at you, but no, no, ça suffit, as they say en français.
Yeah.
It's enough.
That's enough.
So that is your 90s rewind.
Thank you. Thanks kindly.
You're kindly welcome. Everybody else, thank you very much
Yep.
for hanging out with us. Thanks to Adam for working his magic behind the scenes. What is he, the president of the company now?
I think so because we haven't
Yeah.
seen.
He's the goods. He's working his butt off, no doubt about that.
Yep.
And we appreciate him. So thank you, Adam, and thank you everybody for finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate that. Thank you very much for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.